All right, hey guys, OFD checking in here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Orient Kamasu, one of the newer models in the Orient Diver lineup. I do believe this one came out around the end of 2018. Interesting. It was funny because Kurt from Minute Watch reached out to me back then. I think it was December of 2018 and said, "Hey, Aaron, they're coming out with these new Orient Divers, and at the time, they were called like the Mako 3. There was all kinds of different names people were coming out with them. The Mako XL2 for the Kano. This was like the Mako 3. But they've kind of settled on the names for the bigger one, the Kano, this, the Kamasu. Those are the two pretty much newest divers that Orient has offered recently. So really great watches. This one to me is very reminiscent of the current divers lineup, starting with like the Mako. Now this is my Mako 2, and towards the end of the video I'll kind of bring these up here and show some very similar comparisons to the two watches. But let me go ahead and get into the dimensions on this watch. So you got your standard Orient size case of 41.5 from side to side. Lug tip to lug tip comes in just about 47 millimeters. You've got 13.6 millimeters of thickness to the top of actually it's the top of the bezel, not the crystal, because the crystal is recessed, and you have a 22 millimeter lug opening. Now, this particular watch is Chris's watch. It did come on a metal bracelet. He switched it out to this Uncle Seiko waffle strap here, but I do have the bracelet down here in the background for my Mako that I'll show you, because basically this watch came with the same bracelet as the new Rays and the Mako 2s. So let's take a look at the watch. Different dial on this one. They've changed the indices up a little bit. Now the hands are very reminiscent to me of the Mako USA line, one of which I had. I actually had one of the original of the Mako USA, the white dial, with the second pusher up here at 2 o'clock. Kind of kicked myself for getting rid of that watch, because I do think it's a pretty unique one that in the future is going to be a little bit tough to find. This watch is running the standard Orient F69-22. It's a 22 joule movement, 21,600 vibrations per hour, day-date function. It is hacking and hand windable. So all these new watches kind of come up under the Epsom line, and I've noticed a few things that are quite different with the watches. One of the biggest things is the bezel action. The bezel action has really seemed to improve on all of the Orient watches that I have been looking at as of late. Just the spring tension, the way they feel, the way they sound, really sound good, and this one is no exception. Just a very smooth bezel action, locks in very good, and everything on this particular watch lines up. So the indices, they're definitely not like the indices on the Mako. I'll bring it up here and you guys can see different indices. These ones on the Kamasu are longer, come down to kind of taper down to a little bit of a point. Quite different there. Reminds me a little bit of the Mako USA, but I went over and looked at that one, and it does have quite different indices. They're more squared off and rectangular. So definitely some different things. The handset itself does remind me quite a bit of the Mako USA. I think it is very much, maybe pretty much the same handset. Clean watch here. The bezel has very nice knurling on it. For me, with these deeper cuts at the 5-minute marks between the 10-minute marks, pretty reminiscent of the standard dial. It does seem that if you look at my blue Mako, that maybe they've made those cuts a little bit deeper and a little bit easier to grab a hold of on the Kamasu, which would be a good move for them. The bezel on my Mako works just fine, but I think that maybe they did that to make it a little more grippy. Still using the aluminum bezel insert on this watch, but that's fine. I actually like that classic look of that aluminum bezel insert. I'm going to show you the case polishing on here. Like Seiko, Orient always does a really, really nice job of the polishing on their watch cases. They do just an excellent job. Very nice mirror polish there. You guys can see my jaw flapping there in the background. See that? So brushing on top, and like I said, 22 millimeter lug opening. Since we have the bracelet off, you guys can see down inside of there, it is also polished where the lugs would meet the case of the watch. You have a signed crown on the watches, the Orient Lion, the crest and stuff. The logo also on this watch up at the 12 o'clock position is applied, the Orient logo there. Lets you know it's an automatic watch. Down below you have the water resistant and the 20 bar. Very nice, clean look on this watch. Flipping it over, taking a look. Now this isn't my watch, so I'm not going to peel the sticker, but you do have the Seiko, or the dolphins on the back of the case there, which is real nice. Lets you know that this watch has a sapphire crystal on it. And there again, you see that Epsom stamped on the back of the watch, which is pretty standard now on most modern watches you get from Orient as far as that lineup goes. They did say that the Epsom was going to kind of take over the Orient wearables. I thought that was going to be digital stuff, but obviously they're really sticking to their guns about making some really great automatic mechanical watches. So guys, they make this watch in a few different colorways. I believe there is a red dialed version, which is really wild looking. I think it's red with a black bezel on it. There's a blue dial and a blue bezel version. This is the black version, obviously. There may be an additional colorway out there that I may be forgetting about, but good looking. This is just, your classic black and silver, black and white diver's watch. Excellent lume on this watch. So let me get this watch on my 7-inch wrist, and then we will go out with the lume shot as usual here on the OFD channel. All right, guys, so there's the watch on my 7-inch wrist. Now, this is on the Uncle Seiko waffle strap. I could have put it on the bracelet for my Mako 2 down there, but I didn't want to do that. I don't want to scratch up Chris's watch, but it looks really good actually on this waffle strap from Uncle Seiko. While you guys see it on the wrist here, what I want to do is bring the bracelet up and just kind of show you guys these bracelets. Now, I'll get the end links out of the way. They are hollow end links. On these watches, curved hollow end links, so that's just the way it is. The rest of the bracelet itself is solid. Now, these appear to be 3-link pieces, but this is actually one solid piece. They're put together like that, so when you take them out, this is the entire link, these 3 pieces here. Very nice fold-over safety, push button, just folded, stamped steel, stainless steel hardware in here, so nothing really fancy, but the finish work and everything on the watch is done really well. Polished along the side of the bracelet, but Orient bracelets are actually, from what I found, are better than Seiko bracelets in the long run. So looking really good. So let me go ahead and dim the lights, and we'll go out with the lume shot on this one. All right, now you guys are familiar with Orient watches and the Ray and the Orient USA or Mako USA 2. The lume on those watches is spectacular, and this watch is absolutely no different. A really, really bright lume. Orient, over the years since I've been buying them, has really stepped up their lume game. So I'm having a little bit of trouble with the focus, guys, and you notice how much reflection is there. I'm not sure if Orient actually uses any kind of AR coating on the sapphire crystals on these watches. They do tend to get a lot of reflection and glare like that. So I'm not really sure. If you guys do know if they're using an AR coating on these, let me know down below in the comments. But I want to bring up the lights, and I want to show this side by side with the Mako 2 down there, just so you guys can see the similarities in the case and the dimensions. So go ahead and hang on for a second for that. All right, so just holding the 2 watches side by side in hand here, you guys can see the similarity, in the cases. I do believe they're using pretty much the same case for these 2 watches. You look at them from the side, they look pretty much identical. Not much different going on with these 2 watches as far as the case. The dimensions both come in at 41.5. These 2 watches are running the same movement. Now, one of the biggest differences between the Mako 2 and the Kamasu is this has the sapphire crystal, which is going to be a huge benefit as far as not scratching up your crystal. You can upgrade your Mako to a sapphire crystal, but again, it's going to be something you're definitely going to need to upgrade yourself or have somebody do it. Now, the price point is something else I want to talk about. Right now, the Mako 2s, you can get these watches at really incredible prices. I've seen them as low as like $140 on sale at a few different sites. So I'll try to leave some links down below for the Mako 2 where you can find those. The Kamasu is going to set you back about $100 more. I think when I was looking for these, I found them around $228, which has come down. When they first came out, I think they were right around $300 or the $280 price point, but I do believe they've come down a bit in price. So, when you go out looking, you can look at the Ray, you can look at the Mako 2, the Ray 2, and now you have the option with the Kamasu, all in this very nice wearable 41.5 millimeter case, 13.5 thick. Just a really great size watch. So I think it's great that Orient is really giving people so many options in this case size. It's always been a successful case of theirs, and is really working well for them. So kudos Orient on doing that. Just really nice stuff. So all right, guys, that's been the Orient Kamasu. I'll leave all the information down below, the reference number and whatnot on this watch, so you can check it out. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed to the OFD channel yet, please do. Please do. Thanks, guys.